everyone, welcome to the Mally Way. This is chapter 3.3 of my stamp school series, and today we will be looking at wax sticks. Now my voice is a little different this chapter because I've been sick, so please bear with me. I will try my best to articulate. Wax sticks, they come in various forms, but these are mainly two types that you can expect to see out there. There are those that come with wicks and those that come without. Now, traditionally, wax seals were used as a security measure to make sure that nobody opens a letter or document before the intended recipient. And wax seal designs also help convey the sender's identity. So for example, it can be a design of a family crest, your initials, your name, etc. Now these days, it has evolved as a craft and extended beyond ensuring security, and artists have been incorporating wax seals into their craft, either by stamping them directly on their piece or making them separately on a coaster, peeling it off, and pasting on them afterwards. Now, I will be making today's wax seals both on paper and on a coaster, and I will go into a bit more detail why later. This video will be filmed a little out of sequence, so don't let that bother you. It won't affect the comprehension of the video. It's just what works best with the materials that I will be working with. There are two primary ways to use wax sticks without wicks. You can either cut bits and pieces off the wax sticks and melt them in a spoon, or you can melt them directly on the spoon over a flame. Now, I've gone through these two methods in chapter 2 in depth, so if you've already seen chapter 2, you can skip ahead. Timestamps are in the description below. I will also include the link to chapter 2 in the description and add it to the top right hand corner over here for those who are interested. And I will be demonstrating these two methods on a coaster. Now, there is a third way to use wax sticks that come without wicks. Personally, I don't use it since I haven't had much success with it, but I will do my best to go through it here on a piece of paper instead of a coaster, but I cannot guarantee how it will turn out. The first way to use a wickless wax stick would be to cut it up into smaller bits and then melt them in a spoon like they're wax beads over your flame. And with these wax sticks, they measure about 1 cm by 1 cm. It is recommended by the store to use about 1.5 cm to 2 cm per seal if your stamp head is 25 mm in diameter, and 2 cm to 2.5 per seal if your stamp is 30 mm in diameter. I think that's a lot because I don't think I use that much per seal. I think I use about 1 to 1.5 at most if it's a clean spoon for my 25 mm wax stick, but I might be misremembering, and maybe it's just because I heat my wax up a very lot. And if you've seen chapter 3.1, you'll know that temperature affects how much wax you'll need per seal. I will be using this wax stick. You'll notice that this wax stick actually gets longer and longer as we progress in this chapter because I'm filming this out of sequence. Okay, let us slice bits and pieces of this wax stick. I don't like doing this because it's tough. I used a pair of scissors to do this in chapter 2. I'm not sure which way is easier. I know this way is more dangerous. So we've got this much. That's not enough. Let's slice a bit more off. You know, I probably don't even use 1 cm by 1 cm. I'm not sure. It's difficult to estimate. This is a terrible tutorial. I should have chopped it off here. Yeah, that's what I should have done. Okay, I'm gonna snip off about 1 cm of this wax stick to show you how accurate that estimate is. This is more like 1.25 because every time I turn the wax stick, I slice it from a different place. It would be easier to do this if my wax stick was longer and if I had a better grip on it, but this is fine. You just need to be careful. Okay, I think I can just break it now. This is about 1 cm, 1 cm, 1 cm. Pushing it on 1 cm, not quite 1 cm. But yeah. So after you've nibbed off a bit of your wax stick, I'll have to charge the slider soon. Pop this in your spoon and melt it like it's a wax bead. So I feel like with this method, why bother? Just get wax beads. But sometimes certain colors only come in wax sticks. So it is good to know how to work with them. This is method 1. Snip it and use it like it's a wax bead. I'm gonna remove the furnace so I can show you how much wax is melted in the spoon so it's easier. So we used 1 cm by 1 cm, right? And because I'm over the flame directly, I burned my spoon. So I gotta wipe off the soot so it doesn't get into my wax seal. This is a lot of wax. 1 cm by 1 cm is a lot of wax. You don't need that much per seal. This can make 2 seals, honestly, if you're working with a 25 by 25 mm wax stamp. Let's pour it out. That's enough. I don't have my stirrer. I usually do this with my stirrer. Pop the stamp on. And look at how much wax I've still got left. It already started setting. Okay, it's not quite enough for a second seal. It's not quite enough. I will have to add this little blob in. So maybe 75 mm instead of 1 cm would be enough for a seal that is 25 mm. The second way to use a wickless wax stick would be to melt it directly by holding it onto a spoon. And with this method, you will need 2 hands, one for the stick and one for the spoon. Well, if you have a furnace, you just need 1 hand. And you see once again why I decided to film this chapter off sequence, because when I am holding the wax stick directly in the spoon to melt, I want to be holding the wax stick. If I had already chopped off bits and pieces of the wax stick, I would just be popping whatever that's left in the spoon. I wouldn't be holding it on the spoon for it to melt directly. You can see that is really straightforward. You just hold the stick in the spoon and the wax will just melt off the spoon. But you would need to lift the wax stick once in a while to see how much wax actually melted off the stick, because you can see when the wax stick is in the spoon and when the wax stick is off the spoon. There is a different perception of how much wax is actually usable here. It's like adding ice cubes in water and changing the water level because physics. So this is enough wax for me to work with. Now all that's left is to pour it. Now with this method, it can be a little bit difficult to see how much wax has melted off the stick, depending on how evenly you melt the wax stick. So there might be a bit of guesswork that goes on when you use a wax stick like that, rather than clipping off bits and pieces of the stick and adding them into the spoon. Because, you know, I thought that I melted just enough wax, but I have enough wax left over to make another seal. Clean this bit. This is important because otherwise you get wax on your furnace, and the wax that's left over on your furnace will get burned, and this happens. You don't want that. I don't want that. I want this clean. But time doesn't flow backwards. We can only learn from our mistakes. And there we go. The third way to use a wickless wax stick would be to melt it directly over a heat source and then rub the wax that has melted onto paper. Now, from my experience, I have deduced that this method doesn't work if you want to create wax seal on a coaster, because the wax doesn't get hot enough and it sets too quickly on a coaster. It cools and it hardens really quickly with this method, and I hadn't had much luck doing it on paper either in the past. Maybe I've done it wrong, but I will try it out again today to see if I'll find any success, and also to let you know that this method exists. It is a good way to kind of ration your wax if that's what you're into, but I personally haven't had much success. So this is a real letter that I need to seal. Hopefully I don't ruin it, but if I do, well, it just gives it character, doesn't it? For this, I will be lighting a candle instead of using my furnace. So I've got my wax stick over here, and you'll see why I wanted to film this video a bit off sequence, because with this method you kind of want to have enough wax stick to hold safely away from the fire. Here we go. You hold the wax stick directly over the flame, and you see that it's already starting to melt. And when this happens, you don't want your wax to drip into your candle or your whatever heat source you're using. Probably a candle. Ooh. So it takes a lot of control, and you want to turn it so it melts evenly, and also look out for potential drips. You don't want it to drip into your candle, partly because you don't want to ruin your candle, and also you've gone through the effort to melt the wax just for it to drip into the candle and for you to start all over. No, thank you. Now, personally, my trouble with this method is, of course, you can see the level of control you need to have to not I can't even speak right now, to not let the wax drip into the candle. But also, I'm not sure how much wax to melt in this case? Like how melted is the stick? I cannot really tell. How much wax do I have? I cannot tell. So I don't know how long to hold my stick near the flame for. And I'm scared to move it away from the flame because I'm scared that it will start setting. Maybe it already has set. Maybe I'm doing it wrong. I'm not sure. But this is how they used to do it in the olden days. Okay, I think I need to stop messing around and procrastinating this step and just do it. Okay. I'm eyeing my stamp in the corner of my eye so I know where to grab it. Oh, okay. I think I've got a bunch of wax melted and ready. So let's move quickly. So rub the wax onto the letter. Oh no, you see that's already set. Stamp, stamp, turn. Okay, stamp. I hope the camera captured everything. I will not be able to do it again because this is a real letter. First thoughts. I do not have enough wax. I do not have enough wax. But it was all the wax that I melted. That was all of the wax I managed to get off the stick before it set. Now I'm gonna do like a bit of a replay in the corner as I narrate. I'll put like a little thing here of what happened. Maybe slow motion, I don't know. But when I rubbed the wax onto the paper, you can already tell that some parts of it at the bottom already started to set while I was trying to get more wax off the wax stick for like the side. And you can see that most of the wax ended up here and there wasn't enough here. I was trying to get it here, but you can already see, like before I even lift the stamp, that this part is where I removed the wax stick from, and it was already setting. I can remove it, like it's the wax has set the moment I place my stamp down. There's no need to wait because the wax doesn't get super hot with this method. You know, you're constantly turning. You don't want the wax to drip, so maybe you're inching a little bit away from the flame, so only the tip of the wax stick gets melted and not like the inside. Only the top part that is in close contact with the flame got melted. Okay, it didn't turn out as, yeah, zero security. Zero security. What am I gonna do with this? This is a real letter. Can I peel this? No, let's not. Let's not. Can I? Oh, you know what I want to do now? Okay, so obviously because the wax has already set, it clings really well on the top. It doesn't cling to the bottom at all because when I rub the wax onto the paper, this part set super quickly and I guess it didn't cling onto the paper. So what I want to do right now is, I don't want to use glue. I want this letter to be sealed with wax, not glue, because then it defeats the purpose of doing this. So what I want to try doing is, I'm gonna just get a little bit of wax melted, but this is like a one-shot thing. Okay, just a little bit. And I'm gonna rub it under. Now, see, it's set already. I'm not gonna give up. I'm gonna try again. Maybe I don't need the stamp after all. Maybe I can just push it down. Oh, yeah. I wasn't paying attention and a bit of wax got into my candle. So let's see if my plan worked. Sort of. It sort of did. Not a lot of security, but it bonded enough. So I'm gonna peel this off carefully. Oh, it bonded. I can't get this off without tearing the paper. Oh, wow. Oh, idea. I'm gonna get a lighter. So the objective here is to melt this bit of wax so that it bonds more with the paper. I should have left it alone. I should have. But like, this is like the perfect scenario. The person doesn't tear this part of the paper off. Yeah, whatever. Now, this method only works because there are 2 pages to this letter. I talk a lot, so I write a lot. But if it was like just 1 paper, this wouldn't be an issue. I don't think it would have even come apart. Okay, fingers crossed. Just I want to avoid burning the paper and melting the wax seal on top. So I have to do it like that. What am I doing? Okay. Can you see it? Yes, you can. Okay. Oh, I did end up burning the paper. Just a little bit. Okay, to the recipient, if you are watching, you'll know what happened. I tried. I don't know what I expected to happen. So, it was a long walk, and we got back to where we started. It literally looks just like how it did before I peeled it apart and tried to stick it back on. And I burnt the letter in the process, but such is life. Okay, this was quite the tangent. Let's go back to the chapter. Obviously, this is not a method that you can do on a coaster because it sets so quickly. It sets so fast on the paper. What do you think is gonna happen when you try to do it on coaster? It's gonna set instantly, and you're not even going to be able to get like imprint in the wax, probably, maybe, very likely. It is a good way to ration your wax because you don't get enough on your paper. But maybe it's just the makeup of this wax. Maybe it's not suitable for this method because of how quickly it sets. I don't know what's in this wax, so I honestly cannot give you an answer. I have seen videos of success stories, so maybe it's a me problem. So this is an overview of what happened with the wax stick without wick. This was made using method 1. Chop it up and use it like a wax bead. This is method 2. Melt it directly on the spoon, lifting it periodically to check how much wax you used. And this little mark of shame was made using method 3, melting the wax stick directly on the heat source and rubbing what's melted onto your paper. This method only works if you're putting the wax directly onto your intended surface. It doesn't work as well if you're gonna put it on a coaster and then transferring it. No, because it's going to set. And if you want to stamp on glass, no, this is not gonna work because glass is cold and it's going to set so quickly. You're gonna cry. Can't believe I burnt the paper. It smells funny. Now we will move on to the wicked wax stick. No, not wicked as in evil, as in a wax stick that has a wick. A wicked wax stick. With these wax sticks, you'd light the wick and let the wax melt directly onto whatever surface you want the wax seal to be. So the reason why I will be doing it onto this intended surface instead of a coaster is because, much like the method 3, the wax will set really quickly once it's away from the heat source. And as the wax drips away from the wax stick, it's going to start setting. So if you're doing it on a coaster, it's going to harden, and by the time you get enough wax on your coaster, you might not be able to stamp it properly. So I'm going to be doing it directly on this actual gift I'm giving someone. So you know what that means. Fingers crossed, and let's hope it at least has a nice personality. Okay, I'm waiting for the flame to travel down the wick and get to the wax. Okay, it's there. I'm nervous. You want to hold the wax stick horizontally parallel to the paper, and that is because if you hold it vertically, look at how the flame stays, straight. It burns upwards, right? Because it's fire. So if you hold it like that, oh no! If you hold it at an angle, you might get some burnt pieces of, I don't know what I'm saying anymore. Hold it parallel. I'll explain later. And you want to also turn your wax stick so it burns more evenly. I've been distracted, so I did not do that. Okay, that's enough. That's enough. Ooh. Oh, this is cute. I think I will start using these more often. I mentioned to hold it parallel to the paper, right? And that is because fire, they burn upwards. They burn vertically. So when you hold the wax stick like that, it gives the flame somewhere to go. But if you hold it like that, what do you think is going to happen? It burns really slowly and nicely when you hold it parallel to your paper or whatever. You can see some bubbling at the bottom of the wick, but oh no, my wick died. It works if I'm doing it like that. But if I try to turn it upside down, first of all, the wax burns. It smells really bad. And secondly, if you hold it at an angle, you drown your wick. The wax will melt, yes, but it will drip directly onto the wick. But on the bright side, I've got more wick now. And the stick has been revived. But yeah, like some of the wax that dripped off got a bit burnt in the process, so that's not good. Now the reveal. Ooh, crispy. And it looks adorable. It was just the right amount of wax, just right, not too shabby Goldilocks. So that's how you use a wicked wax stick. And that's it for chapter 3.3. The next video will be chapter 3.4, which is on wax rods. Now, those are the ones that you use with a glue gun. So if you want to learn about that, do stay tuned. I will be uploading that a week after this video is up, because it's already been filmed and edited, because I don't do things in sequence. So thank you very much for staying with me throughout this video. I hope this has been helpful to you. If you've enjoyed this chapter and you're enjoying this series in general and would like to support me, do give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel to keep updated with my future videos. If you've got any questions, feel free to leave it in the comments below and I will do my best to answer them. I wish you a wonderful day or night whenever it is you're watching, and happy stamping!